Hello and welcome to TD's Pokemon Lair. I'm TD and this is the Lair. Today we're unboxing a box of 10 Pokemon cards I sent to Professional Sports Authority over a year ago. Got them back in this nice little box, professionally packaged, so they got here nice and safe and sound. Let's get them out of the box and see what grades I got. Alright, let's go. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Pikachu with the yellow cheeks. It's the number 58 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. There's no problems on the graphics. There's no dirt or grime. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's within spec. From left to right or side to side, I think the centering is slightly towards the right. And looking at our corners and our edges, I think they're pretty clean. I don't see much damage on them. Looking to the back of the card, you can see that our centering from top to bottom, I think is close to tolerance, and left to right, I think it's towards the left. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're pretty clean. I don't see any damage or problems on them. Looking at our surface and our graphics, they're really clean. I don't see any dirt, damage, grease, grime, or bends or crease. And we're going to get a grade of near mint 8. That should have been at least a 9. I didn't think the centering was that bad. Let's look at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Poliwag, the number 59th card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, Poliwag looks really clean. I don't see any bends or creases. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the bottom, and left or right, I think it's to the left. And looking at our corners and edges, they're pretty clean. I don't see any damage there at all. Looking to the back, we can see that our surface is clean, graphics are nice and bright. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, again, like the front is towards the bottom, and on the left or right, it's reverse of the front, so it's towards the right. And looking at our corners and our edges, both side edges have some slight damage. And that'll get us a grade of near mint 8. That's not too bad with that damage. I'm looking at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Rattata, the number 61 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. I don't see any damage to the surface, no grease or grime, dirt, or anything like that. Looking at our centering, though, from top to bottom, it's towards the bottom, and left to right, it's towards the right. And looking at our corners and our edges, I think they're really nice. I don't see any problems. As we turn this card over and look at the back, you can see that our centering from left to right is towards the left, and top to bottom, that looks pretty close, might be slightly towards the bottom. Looking at our surface, it's really clean. Graphics are really nice. I don't see any damage or dirt. Looking at our corners and our edges, they look pretty good, except there's some very, very slight damage down that right side. And we'll receive a grade of mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Hey, it's a 1999 Pokemon game-based Sandshrew, the number 62 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see it's really clean. The graphics are nice and bright. There's no damage. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty close to tolerance from left to right. That's pretty close, but I think it's slightly towards the right. And our corners and our edges are pretty crisp with no damage. As we turn this card over and look at the back, you can see that our centering from top to bottom looks pretty good. From left to right, it's definitely towards the right. Our corners and our edges, there's some slight damage on the two right corners and very slight damage on that right side. Our surface looks really clean and our graphics are nice and bright. And that'll get us a grade of near mint 8. Wow, that should have been a little better, I think. Probably should have been a 9. You're looking at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Squirtle, the number 63 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see that Squirtle's graphics look really clean. I don't see any problems there. The rest of the surface looks nice. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the bottom, but really close to tolerance. Left to right, you can definitely see the centering is towards the left. Our corners on our edges look pretty good on the front of this card. Flip the card over and we look at the surface of the card, and it is clean. There's no dirt, damage, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think, again, that's pretty close to tolerance. From left to right, it's definitely towards the right. And once we get to our corners and our edges, there's quite a bit of damage on all those edges and corners. And that's going to give us a grade of near mint 7. I'll take that with that damage. Let's check out this 1999 Pokemon game-based Starmie, the number 64 card of this set. Starmie's surface looks clean, the graphics are nice and bright and crisp. Our centering from left to right is towards the right a little bit, and from top to bottom I think the centering looks pretty close, maybe a little bit towards the bottom. Our corners on our edges though I think are really clean on the front of this card. Take a look at the back of the card and look at our centering from left to right. It's definitely towards the left. Top to bottom our centering looks pretty good. Looking at our corners on our edges, our two top corners have some slight damage. Our surface looks really clean though, and I don't see any damage on those graphics. And we're going to get a grade of Mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Here's a 1999 Pokemon game-based Staryu, the number 65 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see that Staryu's graphics are nice and clean. There's no creases or bends or damage to the surface of this card. Our centering from top to bottom looks pretty close to tolerance. Our centering from left to right, though, is towards the left, and our corners on our edges look pretty darn good. As you look to the back of the card, you can see that our graphics of the Pokeball look really clean. I don't see any problems on the surface of this card. Our centering from top to bottom I think is within tolerance, but from left to right it's definitely towards the right. Looking at our corners and our edges, the two right corners and the right edge all have some damage down that side. That's going to give us a grade of near Mint 8. I'll take it. We're looking at a 1999 Pokemon game-based Tangela, the number 66 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, it looks pretty good. I don't see any dirt damage or creases or anything like that. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think it's slightly towards the top, and left to right, I think it's towards the left. Looking at our corners on our edges, the upper edge and actually I think all the edges have some slight damage to them. As we look to the back of this card, we'll start with the surface of the card. If you look at the bottom of the card, just starting towards the center, you can see a scratch going from the blue up into the Pokemon. Besides that, it looks pretty good. Our centering is towards the top and towards the left. And looking at our corners on our edges, there's quite lots of damage on all those corners in it. And that's going to give us a grade of very good, excellent, 4. Not too bad with all that damage. Here is a 1999 Pokemon game-based Weedle, the number 69 card of this set. Looking at the front of this card, the graphics look really clean. I don't see any dirt, damage, creases, or bends. Looking at our centering from left to right, I think it's towards the right, and from top to bottom, I think it's really close to tolerance or within. Our corners on our edges look really nice on the front of this card. Flipping the card over, we take a look at the back and you can see our surface and graphics are really clean. There's no creases, bends, dirt, or grime. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, I think that's really close to tolerance, and from left to right, that looks pretty good. But looking at our corners and our edges, the two right corners and both side edges have some damage. That's going to get us a grade of near Mint 8. Not too shabby. Here's the 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Persian, the number 42 card of that set. Looking at the front of this card, you can see the graphics are really bright. There's no dirt damage or anything like that. Our creases or bends on the main surface of this card. Looking at our centering from left to right, that's pretty close to tolerance, and from top to bottom, I think it's really close to tolerance also. Looking at our corners on our edges, they look pretty good, except that upper left corner has a ding or deformation on that corner. Flipping the card over and looking at the back, you can see that our surface is really nice and clean. There's no damage to the graphics. Looking at our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think it's all close to tolerance or within. As we get to our corners and our edges, both sides have some slight damage. The two top corners and the lower right corner have some damage, but especially that upper right corner that matches that deformation on the front. That's going to give us a grade of excellent, Mint 6. Not what I expected, but okay. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and remember, you gotta catch them all. Have an awesome day.